Alright, so for this video, we'll be exploring Deepholm. Now, why Deepholm? Well, because apparently there is a lot of weird, experimental stuff outside of Deepholm. Inside of Deepholm, everything is pretty standard stuff. Nothing super interesting. But once you go outside the walls, that's where all the good stuff is at, because there's just so much random developer stuff outside of Deepholm for some reason. Not too many zones are like this. I think I'll probably have to check out a couple of the other contained zones like Deepholm where you get teleported to it and there's no way to really get there otherwise. But outside of Deepholm, there's just a lot of random stuff. Just random patches like this. I'm just gonna go around and look at all of them and then I'll just cut to them, so the video isn't too much of me just going around randomly while looking at stuff. Alright, so this thing right here seems to be just a texture of a floor. And a whole bunch of no textures as well. There's a lot of this over here. There's just a lot of random textures on the floor. And of course, this seat right here as well. There's this white texture on the floor, and then immediate next to it is ooh, this would probably be next to a lava place. And then this would probably be I don't know, a sandy place. And this one would probably be inside a cave or near a cave. And then this is just random Deepholm stuff. I think these are all probably places inside Deepholm, and they just put them here as a reference or something. That's what I think this might be, is maybe everything in Deepholm, when they created it, they just had things over here as references that they would look at and then go inside Deepholm and actually place them there, and they just never bothered to remove them from the game afterwards. Although, I don't know why they wouldn't just have it on a reference sheet or something. Why would it need to be in the game? So that could probably not be what it is. I mean, everything else over here, this is just a normal Deepholm floor with diamonds in it or something. I should probably tell you guys, I'm moving at 200 times movement speed right now. Way faster than any flying mount in the game. So this is all really big. I'm just moving super fast. It makes it look, like it's not as big as it would be normally. So yeah, there's a lot of this stuff right here. It's all super not connected to by these big ass walls for no reason. Alright, let's come over here and see these two dots. One of them is a dot of a texture on the floor and another one is a different texture. If I get a little bit closer, you can actually see that it's floating a little bit, or maybe that's just everywhere. Yeah, there's just rocks floating everywhere. Are there any other textures over here? It looks like these ones are just carried over from... No, these are literally just on the wall. Okay. Trying to make sense of what these textures mean. I probably shouldn't try doing that, but this is pretty obvious right here. These are just straight up two textures that exist in Deepholm and that aren't anywhere else. And they were probably if someone had a spray paint tool and they just covered in a little circle area. That's what these two things remind me of. Alright, and this thing over here looks like another texture map. If I get close enough, looks like there's little funguses on it. There are a couple of fungus places in Deepholm, so maybe this is a map for that or something. Oh look, there's more fungus over here. The fungus place. I'll try to go in live and try to see if I can find this place in Deepholm, and then I'll just put the footage in right here. But yeah, that's weird. This thing is just on this cutting block right here. I mean, there's gonna be a lot of this. I think I'll stop pointing it out at some point, but I've already explored all this place preemptively to see if it was worth doing a video on, so there's gonna be a lot more of these in the video. Alright, look at this place. Look, a little square texture. Oh, I guess this is the untextured part, and then this stuff is all textured. But they use this texture a lot for these kinds of out-of-bounds places. And of course this white one, oops. Alright, so what's over here? Looks like someone experimented with making a mountain over here. Looks pretty good. Or maybe it's just a copy and paste of a mountain already in the game. And look, it even has a little bit of like paint on it to try to it's just that one little random spot though. If I go up high enough, does it look like anything? It kind of looks like a smiley face with like 2 yellow eyes, but I think that's just a coincidence. Alright, moving on. Alright, so this place right here, obviously it's just a square texture with, oops, with this thing, but it also looks like someone was experimenting with like a paintbrush tool again, but trying to combine them together. Because it looks like there's a blank canvas right here, and then they try to use this texture in like this area, and then they just used a couple of other colors right there to blend them together to see what it would look like. Maybe. Also, I wonder if I can get it to look like something else. It looks like a cloud if you look at it this way. Definitely not something else. Okay, let's move on, or let me just look at this real quick. Oh, that's not really anything. Alright, and if we come over here, we can see on this big brown untextured thing, there's like this cutout rock, which is like completely, you know, pathed out. Looks like something you would just put in the game as is. And then over here, it literally just looks like they cut out something from Deepholm and then just put it right here, like just cut it with a knife. Because everything is fully textured. And the mountains are created perfectly. Like, this is good to go. Alright, and this section over here looks like someone was experimenting with hills. Hills and mountains. Since usually in all these untextured parts it's just straight, but this one is actually curved up a little bit in a couple of places. And then it just has a couple of mountains over here. Mountains that aren't really detailed yet, but it looks like all I have to do is just sprinkle in some paint. I totally know what I'm talking about because I make YouTube videos. I know how 3D modeling works. Not for reals. I was being sarcastic. I should probably put that out here. How would you guys know if I'm being sarcastic or not? Yeah. It looks like, to me, with my limited 3D knowledge, as if they were just experimenting with creating mountains over here. That's a better way to put it. That seems like a good guess. Kind of. Because, I mean, yeah, this is... I guess it would be an experiment, because usually when they cut off the mountains, it's just straight. But this one is actually kind of curved a little bit, as if someone was just experimenting with it. Look, there's even crystals and, oh, a unique pattern. I remember looking at this earlier when I was exploring this place preemptively. I thought this thing kind of looked like the Hearthstone symbol or something. Kind of. Hearthstone symbol has... it's a little bit more simple than that. Whoa, what's this? That's a weird texture. It's like a mirror. Huh. Is this in the game? It has like a reflective surface to it. Ooh. Well, that's neat. That's neat, I guess. And look, a random crystal. What are these for? Probably put in places where there's random crystals and stuff. And look, more experimental mountains. And this completely untextured mountain. Whoa. I think this is the first, like, untextured mountain, because all the other ones have, you know, the brown texture to it. This one has the white one, which is what they use a lot when they don't have any textures on them. Huh. I wonder what's up here. More mountains. Fully textured mountains, though. The ones with the reflective surface, too, like the ones I was looking at a little bit earlier. And look, even a rock formation. There's a whole bunch of these in Deepholm. Yeah, you see, all these things are kind of confirming my theory that a lot of this stuff was just experimented on and they threw it in Deepholm if they thought it looked good, and then they just kind of forgot to put it over there. Maybe this is where all they put the reject stuff. Maybe it's something completely different and I just don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about because, like I said, I'm not a 3D modeler. I've never made a video game before. I just make YouTube videos. Alright, this is a unique texture. It's pure black. Whoa, there's like no light that reflects off of it either. I don't think I've ever seen a texture like this before in these kinds of videos. And it looks like someone was painting with it and making circles along the edge. With like a circle tool or something. Well, that's neat, I guess. Alright, and I think this is one of the final things over here. You see, over here, there's just a whole bunch of blank shit. I mean, stuff. Really gotta stop saying those bad words, don't want to get demonetized. And over here, there's just different rock structures that appear in Deepholm. And, like, that's it on this little square. There's nothing else here. So, it's like a developer's playground or something. And then over here, we have a rock and this little smudge that kind of looks like a cannonball shooting something. Definitely not something else. Just randomly over here, so that's totally what it was. Someone's a fan of medieval cannonballs, so they totally just drew that on over there. Alright, and for the most part, that's it. Like, I already looked at all of the weird developer playground stuff out there, but inside Deepholm, like I said at the beginning of the video, there's not really much to explore. Unless you want me to, like, look inside the tower, but honestly, you can go down here on live too if you want to look inside of it. And if you do look inside of it, there's nothing special. Except for that little hut down there, maybe. Oh no, it's not a hut. It's literally just a rock. Okay, so it looks like there's a rock inside the temple that no one cares about. And a big gaping hole. But, I mean, obviously there's always going to be big gaping holes underground in these kinds of things. So I guess I can look up here because there's an invisible wall right here. An invisible roof, I mean. So you can't actually get higher than this. And I already showed you what's outside there. It's just all the developer stuff. It looks different from over here. No, those are just the developer rocks, I assume. I'm just going based on that theory. It could be totally something else. And if you want to see what happens if you go super far up, well, I've already tried that. You can never get too close to this texture because it always stays at a fixed distance, and then when you finally do get past it, it just does this. Like, you can't ever get to it. Once you go past it, it just turns into the default night skybox. Then if I go back down, remember, I'm going super fast right now. It's just really high up. Yeah, and it just comes back. You can't actually get to it, and it just kind of stays in the sky. But there is a ceiling to it. If I just continue to go up like this while looking at it, yeah, see, it just goes away. And then it comes back, kind of. So there's nothing else to really explore over here. So I guess that's it for this. That's Deepholm. Inside of Deepholm, honestly, nothing interesting. Outside of it though, lots of random ass textures and buildings, and it looks like they used it to experiment on stuff. Which is neat. I didn't think there'd be anything interesting about Deepholm until I looked outside of it. So if you have an idea for another place to explore like this, because I'll try editing them a little bit more. People are very disappointed in this series because it's not as high quality as Haven games. I originally built this series with the intention of it being like a different YouTuber who basically does the same thing and just does a free roam camera and goes around and looks at stuff. And I had totally forgot that Haven did something like this. And his videos are just way more high quality than what I can produce. And that's because I need like a computer upgrade if I'm gonna do them like that. And that'd take a lot more work, and I like doing them like this better. But if people still complain about these series being not as high quality as Haven's, I guess I'll eventually just have to cave and do it like how he used to. And in which case I can probably just go back and remake some of these, but for now I'm just going to keep doing the free roam camera thing and just look at it. What's inside this? Oops, I already know. There's nothing inside the cave. There's nothing anywhere here. There's no reason to look. Okay, so that's it.